Hey, Mark Clark here from Vancouver, Canada. I am the author of a book called The Problem of God, and we are doing a series on the 10 chapters in The Problem of God, exploring the big skeptical questions that people have toward Christianity. And first one we're going to talk about is the problem of God's existence. Obviously, that's kind of foundational to if you're going to become a Christian or believe in God at all. I didn't grow up in a Christian home at all. So I had to kind of come to this thinking through the rational and the evidence and the reason behind it. And so there's two or three major, there's lots of evidences for the existence of God, but two or three that really stood out to me as I explored. The first one was the idea of morality, that I knew the difference between right and wrong. I knew that killing someone was wrong. I knew that rape was wrong. I knew, where did I actually get this? And of course, I look to my three daughters now and I see this kind of inherent sense of justice that they have, that if one of them's jumping on the trampoline, then the other one says, I need to jump on the trampoline. It's like, where did they learn this sense of justice, that if they have an orange, I want an orange? And it's kind of built into us. It's a sense of, when cutting in line is wrong or cheating on your tax. You know inherently that it's wrong. But the real question is, if we only developed from animalistic instincts, we probably wouldn't actually know the difference between right and wrong. We would just do what kind of works and what's pragmatic for our lives. And so it kind of raises the question of, where do we get these objective moral values? And if objective moral values exist, an objective moral value giver exists. And that bugged me as someone who didn't believe in God. And so I started exploring. I began to realize it's most rational to actually believe that somebody gave us that moral compass. And then I started exploring the science and the cosmology of it, and I realized that the universe, lots of people back in the day used to say that, everything that begins to exist has to have a cause. Of course, you and I begin to exist. So it's because our parents got together and, got married and had us. And so when you begin to look at things, and what's the uncaused eternal thing that never began to exist? And philosophers back through the day used to say, well, that uncaused thing was the universe. But of course, earlier in this century, Edwin Hubble began to realize that the universe actually had a beginning, that about 15 billion years ago, the universe actually began. All time, energy, matter came into existence at a single moment 15 billion years ago. And so we round the clock, we began to realize, wait, the universe actually began to exist. And what cosmologists, philosophers tell us now is that the universe began to exist, and the universe has to have a cause. And so what we begin to realize is, well, what caused the universe? It's actually rational and reasonable and scientific and evidential to start to believe in the existence of God, rather than say, well, the universe just came into existence out of nothing, out of pure chance, because chance actually isn't an explanation for anything. We want to use our minds. We want to use our reason. If someone handed you, in a poker game, they handed you a royal flush, you might say, oh man, that was by chance, that was lucky. But if you're sitting at a poker game and you get a royal flush 10 hands in a row, everyone's going to start to say, someone's monkeying with this game. Well, in the world of physics, the fact that the universe ever came into existence by chance, the math on it is so absurd that people really look at it and go, it makes sense that maybe there was a mind and a logic and a rationale behind the beginning of the universe. And then thirdly, there's the design of the universe, the way that it's put together. William Paley back in the day said, if you stumble upon a rock at a beach, you wouldn't really think much about it. But if you pick up a watch, and there's all these intricate details about the way, you're going to say there was a mind behind this watch. Well, so much of what we look at, from biology to everything around us, has this mind. But we look in the DNA and we see that there's coded information, even in DNA strands. If we use our brains, if we want to actually do what's rational, we begin to realize that actually points toward a mind, somebody behind it that designed it. So for all these reasons and many more, I think it's most rational to actually believe that God exists. And then, of course, from there, you can start to build out and say, well, which concept of God is actually right? And I think Christianity, as we'll explore, is the best idea in the marketplace of ideas.